a while back for cancer, and it actually worked on every type of cancer cell they tried it on. And this was researched and found by a researcher, or really a team of researchers at Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, one of the biggest cancer hospitals in the United States. And the researcher, I don't say Sloan Kettering found it, I say the researcher found it, and you'll see why in a second. The researcher discovered that this substance, and it's a vitamin, by the way. If you look at history, I think this is really interesting. No chronic degenerative disease on Earth has ever been cured by anything other than nutrition. It's never been cured by a drug. It's never been cured by a surgery. There are no diseases of the chronic degenerative type that have ever been cured by a drug. Infectious diseases, there have been a few. Other diseases like that, there have been a few. But the chronic degenerative sort, which cancer is one, none of those have ever been cured by anything other than nutritional therapy and natural healing. If you look at scurvy, this was the scourge of the civilized world at one time, and back in the 16, 17, 1800s, many thousands of people died. I'm not even going to say every year, more like every week, from scurvy. Most of them were sailors. They were going out on the sea where they couldn't have access to the usual foods that they would eat, and the foods they took with them happened to be very low in vitamin C. Well, there was an admiral at the time, Admiral End, who actually discovered that sailors, when they would come back, if they had scurvy, if they would go to a doctor who was using surgery and mercury plasters and things like that, every single one of them would die. If they came back and went to a physician, because there were a lot at that time who used herbs and nutritional therapies, they would live almost in every case. And he thought, now this is amazing. Obviously this one set of physicians has the cure, and this other set of physicians doesn't know what the heck they're doing. So he looked into it, found out about vitamin C after researching it for a few years and trying to find what is it in their treatments that's working so well, and he realized that scurvy was a vitamin C deficiency disease. And of course we know that now. Even medical doctors know that now, having as little training in nutrition as most of them typically do. In fact, they found a few years ago, Gallup poll, I believe it was, conducted a survey, and they found that the average medical doctor knows only a little more about nutrition than his secretary. Unless the secretary had had a weight problem or issues with her weight, and in which case she had read a couple of books and she knew significantly more about nutrition than the doctor. So medical school just does not train doctors in nutrition. But even with that, most doctors, in fact I've never met one who doesn't know that scurvy is a vitamin C deficiency disease. Even that is even in these medical schools that have cut almost all nutritional training out. So everybody knows that today. You study it in junior high science classes. Scurvy is a vitamin C deficiency disease. And yet when Admiral End tried to convince the English Parliament that this was a vitamin deficiency disease and all they had to do to completely wipe it off the face of the earth was start sending citrus fruits along with their sailors when they went out on their ships, they laughed him out of Parliament. They said, yeah, right, this is the scourge of the modern world. Scurvy was actually a bigger deal back then in some areas than cancer is today. It was killing more people in certain areas, than, at least as a percentage of the population, than cancer is today. It was at least as feared, maybe more so, and it was the disease to be scared of back then. It was scurvy. And just like cancer is today, it fits exactly the same picture. And Admiral End tried and tried and tried for decades to get this theory accepted. Finally, when they decided to listen to him, they started sending limes out with the English sailors when they would go out on their ships during military campaigns or patrol or shipping routes or whatever they were doing. And that did actually two things. One, it caused the English to earn the nickname limeys, So if you were ever wondering where that came from, it's because they always sailed with limes to prevent scurvy, and they would eat them.